Hi, I'm Jane Hopprich. Here is my quilt pattern heading north. I thought it would be kind of fun to show you all some different ideas, things I had. If you watched my one video on YouTube, I showed how I quilted my quilt. But in this video, I wanted to give you some different variations of things that I thought you might be able to do. So I'm just going to draw and doodle some different designs until maybe we come up with a couple different variations of things. So the first thing that I would do is decide how I'm going to quilt my half square triangles. Am I going to keep them all the same, or am I going to keep them different? One idea I have is that the smaller ones you quilt one way, and then maybe the larger ones you quilt a different way. So that's one way of looking at it. And then the idea is of how you're going to quilt them. So let's just come up with a couple different ways. You know, the first thing that always comes to mind in this is just an orange peel, you know, and you could even just do around the angled line. You don't even have to do. What that'll do is it'll allow both sides, the white and the dark, to pop forward. That would be pretty cool. And you could do that all the way around. You could even do that on the larger ones too, if you wanted. But I think if you did this one, I think maybe I would keep all of the small ones the same. But then maybe I would go in and I would do something different in the other areas. Now you have 1, 2, 3, 4 smaller borders as far as the gray goes, and one larger border. If you like a certain design, there's no reason you couldn't do it large up here. And do it across the screen like that. And you could even do it small down here. And you could continue that all the way around and do it in all the gray small and all the gray areas. You could do that sort of brings some cohesiveness to the pattern if you want. So there's that idea. For the larger ones, you could even do something really fun. You could do a play on ruler work if you like ruler work, and do that in all of the flat or the half square triangles, and do a play on the heading north so that you accentuate those half square triangles, and then do something pretty simple in the white area. I think it just depends on how involved you want to get with your quilting. So you could carry that all the way through if you wanted and do that. You know, I still see on these cornerstones an orange peel, or as I like to call it, a wonky orange peel, which is this. So that's kind of a fun design too. It's easy and it's forgiving. So there's that way of doing it. Let's move over and work on this side to come up with a different plan. You could treat this as one whole thing and just do a design through there. You could just create a feather going right through there. There's that idea. I'm not sure I would do that, but you could. You can do anything that you really want to do in there. Um, you could do you could do this design in here, which I call an orange peel flower. So you're going to do, you could do that. That would be kind of fun. That would be, and then maybe up here, you just do some straight lines that way. Or you could even do them that way. Again, it's going to depend on what your level of quilting is and what you're comfortable with. Let's move over to down here into this section. You could even do, if you like feathers, you could do feathers in here. You could do just a half of a feather in this section. Now that being said, and then maybe a play on or what you could have done there was you could have even done a something like that in there. Now, if you like the feathers, you could technically get them in these small triangles, but it might be a little tough. And it might be because you're only going to get a couple feather fronds in there. So I would try and think of something different to do in there. Maybe even just an E, L, E, E, L, E. And you could even do that going on both sides. That would kind of make a frilly design. I'm going to do it in this bigger one so you can see better. E, L, E, E, L, E. So that would be kind of a fun design to do in there. And it would be fairly simple. You just have to be comfortable doing your E's and L's right side up and upside down. But that could be pretty cool going all the way across. Even if you did that in all the half square triangles, that would be a pretty simple one to do, but it looks nice and frilly. If I were going to do that there, I would, in these gray areas, I would try and do maybe that curvy straight line. Something not so rounded. I would just try and keep it straight, or even something like this, where you let those measurements of the seam lines guide you. So what I'm doing there, let me come out here and show you a little bit. So I would go like that, come back, and then I would travel up and do the next one on the other side. So then you end up with that on in here. You've used this because they should all match up as your guide. You could do that, or you could even come back and do it that way. And then you could even take and you could fill in every other one with a little bit of, or every square shape, diamond shape in there with a little bit of a fill work, and then those would pop up. Or if you fill in these sides, those diamonds will pop up. The other thing you could do is if you did that and you came back up and did it that way, and in the inside you could do an orange peel, and coming back you did an orange peel. It ends up being a nice design too. That would be a fun little play on letting the piecing be your guide for your ruler work and your design. So there's lots of different ideas there. When I see a border like this, from my quilt, I did a lot of ribbon candy in there. Just because it was fun, but you can do whatever you want. I want you to do what you're comfortable with, and maybe just an edge-to-edge design is fine with you, and that would look good too. You could easily have a pantograph done, some kind of a swirl or something all over. It's going to look really good because it's so linear of a quilt. That movement is going to look really good on there. The piecing is still going to show through. So don't be worried about doing a pantograph for edge-to-edge design and it not showing through, because it's going to still show through. Anyway, I hope some of those ideas were helpful. If you make this quilt and quilt it, I would love to see pictures of it. Please feel free to contact me and send me a picture of your finished quilt. Anyway, thanks for joining me.